Eve Echoes is no different to many other player versus player oriented games when it comes to the level of security in different zones that players can engage in. In this game, we see this represented in the names Highsec, Lowsec, Nullsec, and more recently Cobalt Edge or Nihilus Space. So the purpose of today's video is to explain what these different levels of security mean with regards to gameplay. So first and foremost, we have Highsec. This in many games would be considered the starting area or the beginner's area, whatever area you want to call it. This is the completely safe area. In Eve Echoes, Highsec means you are 100% safe from other players. They cannot aggress you at all or shoot you at all. There are no warp disruption bubbles allowed. No synergial beacons can be lit. Wow, that's a hard word to say. No capital ships, excluding Sciences, can enter into a system. And systems have lower value combat anomalies, ore belts, and mission encounters to run. So nice and safe, you can do pretty much whatever you want without getting aggroed by other players. The worst thing you have to worry about is local chat. Moving on to Lowsec, however. In Lowsec, you are protected at the stargates and stations by the sentry guns. This is the equivalent of Concord shooting down anybody that aggresses you. They can still attack you, and if they get enough damage on you in the opening couple of volleys, you can still lose your ship. But in a drawn-out conflict, you will survive because the gates sentries or the station sentries will protect you. That said, however, if you move away from this gates and the stations to, let's say, a mining belt or a combat anomaly, you're on your own. It's player versus player. No warp disruption bubbles, however, in this area can be dropped. So that's one little bonus. But, of course, as stated, you can get shot at by other players at any time. So keep on your guard. Capital ships and synergial beacons are allowed in this area. And the value of your combat anomalies, ore belts, and mission encounters are a little bit higher than found in Highsec. More notably, however, we do have access in Lowsec to storyline missions. These are the missions that you can buy off of the market or earn yourself by running the regular encounters and, get some high value rewards out of them. Not that many people do them because Lowsec is much harder to secure, but they are available. And we also have Cobalt Edge wormholes, which were more recently introduced, which are exclusive to Lowsec areas. Now, moving on, we have Nullsec, or Null Security. This is the home to many corporations and alliances, and you'll find that the majority of stations out there are player built and owned, which means you can't dock at any station of your choosing. No protection is offered anywhere by the game. You always have to be alert. Moving on, all modules and ships are allowed. This is including your warp disruption bubbles. So you can be stopped by a warp disruption bubble and have to fight your own way out. Local display is vital when you're in Nullsec, as it can give you an indicator as to how many hostile players are in the area. Of course, not everybody that appears in local as a neutral or a red will necessarily be hostile and out to get you, but you have to be aware of their presence nonetheless. And in this Nullsec area, you will get higher value anomalies and ores to be able to take advantage of. And lastly, we have unknown space, and that's what I'm calling it because there is no formal name for it, and this is inclusive of both Cobalt Edge and Nihilus Space. These particular spaces tend to be similar to Nullsec in that no protection is offered by the game. That's no gate guns, no Concord, you're all on your own. All modules and ships are pretty much allowed. Nihilus Space is a little bit more restrictive depending on the size of the gates that you go through, but that's a different topic. The main difference here is there is no local player display. That means you can't even see who's in the system with you. That's quite a big important note to make there. So you don't know If there's a red or a neutral in the area, or even a blue, you don't know who's in the area. You have to go in with your friends, be prepared, and hope that you've got enough. It is worth noting, however, that in these spaces, you get even higher value exclusive loots and ores or gases depending on which one you're in. Of course, in Cobalt Edge, it's the gases and loot that's relevant. In Nihilus Space, you're talking compressed ores or exclusive loots. Those are the 4 different types of space in EVE Echoes for you to be aware of. Thanks again for listening, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you guys in the next video.